Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to all the nooks and crannies where our 100,000 watt transmitter gets its produce or permeates its signal. That is Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana. We're going to have a great show for you. Of course, good morning to the world, of which we have quite a few listeners chiming in. In fact, as well, places like Barcelona, Spain, places like parts of France, etc. We have people they're interested in what we're doing here in America. Anyway, we're going to have a great show for you today. How was your weekend? I trust you had a good weekend. Folks, we are going to have a good one. I got a really good one for you. Very important program because I want to give a contrast in a little bit above what I sent out in the newsletter. But anyway, before we get started, it is time to get to our geniuses in the studio. Buenos dias, mis hermanos favoritos. Good morning, my favorite brothers.
Well,
How's
good
it going?
morning. Good morning, Egberto. I was hiding in the cranny, but I decided to come out and talk to you and
Yes,
to throw
talk
it
to
to
me.
Jack for some wisdom. What you got, Jack?
Oh, do I have wisdom?
I hope so.
Okay, well, good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Buenos dias, my brother. Talk to me, my friend. How's it going?
It's going all right. How will we resist fascism? Fascism happens when big business overtakes governmental power. The corporate fascists have overtaken the Republican Party and half of the Democratic Party. The Supreme Court is out of balance 6-2 with a right-wing Chief Justice Roberts. The Supreme Court's justices are awash in corrupting capital and are in the hip pockets of the corporate fascist. Government is supposed to protect its citizens from the corporate abuses, but I think government has sold the citizens to the corporation.
Brother, yes, government has sold itself to the corporation, but we have to do. Hey, what is it that we got to do to fix that problem again, Howard? What do we do?
Vote them out. Vote
Vote,
them
Vote.
out.
That's, and you
vote 'em
know,
out.
Your your vote
go ahead.
counts. I'm getting some feedback from somewhere. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, we'll get that
Maybe my
fixed.
empty,
We
maybe
know
my
we
empty head of the headphones.
we know the man that can get that fixed is in the house. But look, we are going to have a great program, folks. I guarantee you this. So you all know that we are in fund drive. You know that. But we're having a solid program above and beyond the fund drive. What I want you to do, I want to ask you, call early. You guys leave me panicking every single day, not knowing how much program that I can actually give without pitching, with pitching, all that good stuff. Start early. Those of you that are going to give it, which I hope are many of you, because we are worth it. What I'm going to talk about today, the farm bill. What I'm going to talk about, what happened when Trump, Sonny Perdue had to say about farmer, etc. You'll see that it's a plan. You will see that it's a plan. So before we get here, I'm going to throw it to our general manager so he can do our first pitch of the morning. But we're going to get into show, guys, and you're going to see something important here. So before we get started, let's jump to Brother Sandy and then take it on the other side. Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you, Egberto, and good morning to all. This is Interim General Manager Sandy Wyman, and we are in the what I hope will be the final week of our May Share-a-thon. We have crossed the halfway mark, so you can say that we got it where we wanted. 7 days to go and 50% of the money needed to satisfy the goal. Sounds about right. But we need to make a headlong dash, and it needs to start right now on this first show of the last week on this Monday morning. Don't hesitate, please. We have collected $77,531 with 480 different donations. Our overall goal is 150,000. So if you want to do the math in your head, we need about another $72,500 to get to where we're going. Long way to get there, short time to do it, but it begins here and now. So like Berto said, don't wait. Make that pledge. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org, and click donate. That is my Monday morning first pitch. Egberto, back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Thank you so kindly. Again, folks, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. We have great thank yous for you. We're trying to build up what we call sustainers. I know you would give any one of us, if you saw us in the streets, a coffee. If you saw us, and maybe every month, if you saw us and you say, "Hey, I haven't seen you in 30 days, I haven't seen you in a month," you would not have a problem saying, "Let's go and drink a cup of coffee. Hey, it's on me." That's all we're asking you. A cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, 3 cups of coffees a month, and you can make us whole. Today we have an important subject. The title of the show is as follows: Michael Steele on Americans taking crap, Trump is a fascist, and GOP Farm Bill as corporate. And that's a typo in my newsletter, but that's okay. I'm going to tell you what we mean by that. Subtitle: Michael Steele, how many Americans, after seeing crap show, continue to buy it? The insanity of the media and politicians treating Trump with a false balance, and pro-corporate GOP Farm Bill Decried. And that's where I want to start. Pro-corporate Farm Bill Decried. And it's very important. Last week, what everybody was listening to is that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett, they got into a big, nasty argument that seemed like a Jerry Springer show. And if you look at TikTok, and if you look at Facebook, if you look at Instagram, that's all those outtakes are there. And by the way, I'll have an outtake on that piece as well. Why will I have an outtake? Because it is something essential to show, right? While everybody is hyperventilating about this cat fight, 2 women going at it, the most intelligent thing done on that stage was something by our Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who used, look, I know, yes, she called the lady by a bad adjective, but she used the way she did it as to show the ineptitude of the chairman, to show the hypocrisy of the chairman. And nobody that I saw, at least in either the news media, the feed, the morning shows, really got it. They didn't get what this woman did. So when they asked her on the morning shows, do you regret what you did? And she said no. The next thing was, look at how they are. And they don't even regret sounding like Jerry Springer, not understanding exactly what she did. But we'll talk about that later if we get a chance. The real story right now is the Farm Bill. But you see, that story distracted from the proposed farm write-up that's occurring in Congress. Nobody's talking about this boring thing called the Farm Bill, though it affects more people than actually saw that Jerry Springer moment in Congress. We have to, that's why, well, first of all, that's why we are here. That's why we've got KPFT and Politics Done Right. So that we can point out to folks, both our urban folks or suburban folks and our farm folks, what's really happening. Title of the article that I want to highlight from Common Dreams last night, it's GOP Farm Bill Decried as pro-corporate, anti-family waste of everyone's time. And they came to this, I think they wrote this article on Friday. It was right after that mix-up. But it goes like this. Echoing early May criticism of House Republicans' blueprint for next farm bill, anti-hunger and green groups on Friday fiercely condemned the GOP's discussion draft text of the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2024. That's where you get, how much people are going to get on SNAP, what kind of subsidies farms are going to get, etc. Released by the U.S. Committee on Agriculture Chair Glenn G.T. Thompson, Republican of Pennsylvania, the draft is competing with a Democratic proposal, Senate Agricultural, Nutritional, and Forestry Committee Chair Debbie Stabenow, Rural Prosperity and Food Security Act, while Thompson claimed that his bill is the product of extensive feedback from stakeholders and all members of the House and is responsive to the needs of farm country through the incorporation of hundreds of bipartisan policies. Representative David Scott, Democrat of Georgia, the panel's ranking member, said the draft confirms his worst fears. Let's point out, because when we talk about stakeholders, a lot of times people don't know what we're talking about. When it comes to a farm bill, who are the stakeholders? The stakeholders are the big agri corporations. It is you, anyone receiving SNAP, anyone receiving food benefits, international relief agencies receiving food for, let's say to prevent starving in different places. By the way, if we can prevent starving in places where we were partially responsible for their starving, it means that we wouldn't have an immigration crisis and many other things of that nature. So all these things tie in. Your policy, the policies that you pass, have effects long beyond the immediacy of the policy that's being written. So a person writing intelligent policy goes ahead and he looks through several levels of indirection. He or she says, all right, if I pass this, what happens? What then happens because of that other thing happening? You have to see what the cascading effects of your policies are. And it turns out, rural brothers and sisters, anybody listening to me that isn't in the big cities, etc., listen well, because this affects you. And the Republicans are not your friends. Remember, right here in Texas, they are doing what again? They're shutting down your hospitals with not accepting the Medicare expansion to the Affordable Care Act. Remember, they're shutting down your farms. And with this bill, we'll show you further. So as they speak about the conservative farmers supporting these Republican folks, remember who's taking money out of your pocket and food out of your mouth, and who are making sure that the monies that you get, the prices you get for your crops are lower than they should. How many farmers out there? Price of everything has gone up. The price of food, vegetables, everything is high. I would love if we were paying these high prices so that our farming brothers and sisters in rural America were making more money. If you were making that 30-something% or more that food prices has gone up over the last several years, if you were making the excess profits from that guy, I would kindly and happily say this is one place it's good for food prices to rise as our wages rise, because right now our wages are rising faster than inflation. So if that's the case, the inflation that I love is inflation that raised the prices of food, if that price is going towards getting a better way of life for our farmers. Right? That's how it's supposed to work. Increase in food prices should mean an increase in wages for farmers, right? That's what it should mean. For people who are picking the fruit, for people who are growing the fruit, for people who invest in it. And that's what something like a budget, that what we're talking about here, the farm bill, that's what they're supposed to do. But señores, mis amigos y mis amigas, that's not what's happening. All right. House Republicans plan to pay for the farm bill by taking food out of the mouths of Americans' hungry children, restricting farmers from receiving the climate smart conservation funding they so desperately need, and barring the USDA from providing financial assistance to farmers in times of crisis, he warned, referring to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Now, here's the deal. Our corporations, specifically, oil corporations, don't want anything done about green energy. They don't want to produce green energy. They don't, because digging up for oil and coal out of the ground is cheap. So their profit margin is huge. Green energy, until it's ramped up very well, it's not going to be there. So we continue to burn oil. We continue to burn all these things that create climate change. And in the process of creating climate change, you get more derechos, like we got here in Houston, that knocked out power for a whole lot of people. A lot of people are still without power. It causes damage. It causes hurricanes. It causes damaging winds that go through the crop of our breadbasket, and knocks down a large percentage of our brothers and sister farmers' crops. And in the process of still subsidizing these companies that damage our environment, and now removing subsidies from farmers, which would help during disasters like the derechos and the other problems that are created by our burning of fossil fuels, we are still subsidizing these companies as we go ahead and cut our farmers. And farmers, you're still voting Republican? You're still voting to support your demise? If you think this is some sort of a fluke, I'm going to jump from this article to another article. And this one is old, because this tells you the way of thinking. This one goes to the U.S. Agricultural Secretary, October 2nd, 2019, under former President Trump. The Trump administration message to small farmers: go big or go home. Sonny Perdue, President Trump's agricultural secretary, said Tuesday during a stop in Wisconsin that he doesn't know if the family dairy farm can survive as the industry moves toward a factory model. And you know that factory model, what happens to it? It's subsidized by your government, our tax dollars. In America, the big get bigger and the small go out, Perdue said after an appearance of the World Dairy Expo in Madison. I don't think in America any small business, we have a guaranteed income or guaranteed profitability. No, we don't. Perdue's visit comes as Wisconsin dairy farmers are wrestling with a host of problems, including declining milk prices, rising suicide rates, and the transition to larger farms with hundreds of thousands of animals, and Mr. Trump's international trade wars. Let me tell you what the trade war did. The trade war told the milk farmer, because here's the deal. I already told you, we put in tariffs on China is the worst thing. When Trump did it, I decried it. And brother Biden is doing it now, and I'm decrying it. Let's give an example here. You put those tariffs on China, China gets pissed off. Just like we supposedly get pissed off because they are dumping steel here. What China said is, okay, you want to put tariffs on the steel? We'll simply stop buying milk. So, my rural brothers and sisters, when those tariffs went on that Trump put on China, you know who paid the price? Every American paid more for products, but farmers could no longer sell milk. 43% decline in your milk. Okay? And what happens then is we went ahead and hear the people say, well, guess what? The family farm just can't survive. So he went to Wisconsin and said that. It behooves me how poor Democrats in Wisconsin were in campaigning appropriately to show what's happening with GOP policy that specifically hurt GOP and other supporters. We got to get better than that. We got to get smarter than that. So again, you have the agricultural secretary for Trump telling small farmers, hey guys, there's no room for you guys anymore. We can't. The trend is to get bigger, not smaller. So the person who wants to have a small family farm and still play a part, and by the way, small family farms are the way to go. It is not more efficient than large farms because large farms take advantage with their size, but it's more sustainable. And why is it sustainable? Remember when we had the baby food crisis, when you concentrate into one factory, one owner, etc., when that one thing has a problem, it affects the entire system. When we have a whole hundreds of thousands of family farms and family cattle and family, all these things, we spread risk. What is supposed to be capitalism? The efficient allocation of resources. But guess what? The efficient allocation of resources can actually cause your demise. Yeah, big, huge factories are more expensive than running a whole lot of small factories, but it's very, very dangerous. So the Farm Bill continues, continuing with the Farm Bill. Leaders at advocacy groups on Friday similarly slammed the Republican bill. T.Y. Jones, Cox Vice President for Food Assistance at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, reiterated her previous condemnation of GOP attempts to cut the benefits of hungry families, saying that this is unacceptable. Congress should reject it. I am pretty sure Congress will reject it if Americans are informed about not what's happening with Jasmine Crockett, not what's happening with MTG, not what's happening with Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, but the damage these companies are really doing to all of us. So, those of you that are listening, I'm not done here yet, but we got to do a little bit of pitching. I bet most of you had no clue this disaster was occurring in Congress as we watch the spectacle, as we watch a spectacle of a Trump trial, as we watch the spectacle of Marjorie Green Taylor, or Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. But these are things as they keep us entertained. You know, there's this stuff called bread and circus. There's this thing. I was a member of the group called Move to Amend as a board member, and we went around the country and we had all these activities to try to make people aware of what's occurring. We were trying to get this past the 28th Amendment, which says corporations are not people and money is not speech. And to do that, we figured we have to educate the population as to how their government works. Civics isn't taught in school hardly anymore. And there was this skit that one of our Utah Move to Amend did where they talked about bread and circus. Keep you fed and entertained, and then they can do anything to you, which is where we're at right now. America, in as much as our food is expensive compared to how it was a few years ago, it's still the cheapest in the world, okay, relative to what we make. And here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. The funny thing is that they give us cheap processed foods. They entertain us with these real what they call it, real programs, reality based programs, and things that don't make you think, just entertain you. You know, I remember every time I'm sitting down here blogging, if I accidentally turn from a news channel in the past and turn to a Jerry Springer, it's amazing how attractive Jerry Springer was for its decadence. That is what they want to do, keep you entertained as they screw you, keep you fed as they screw you. They screw the farmers and everything else. And this is not conjecture. This is just, we've proven. But anyway, before we continue, folks, I'd like to ask you to give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension 1. I'm going to be pitching for a little while before I get back into the rest of the program, along with Sandy and others. So please go ahead and do that call in now that we're not covering that subject right away. Please call now, 713-526-5738. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes in the chat, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We are trying to build sustainers, and what sustainers is going to do for the station is prevent us from having to break into programming 4 times a year and ask you for money. Those people who say or see the value in what we do. And I tell you what, you know there is value in what we do to educate a population, to learn from a population, to learn together with a population. Um, we need to be here because the corporate media just cannot be. I'm going to be interviewing one of the best reporters at MSNBC later this week, not later next week. And what we want to do then is at that point, I'm going to do the interview in such a manner it has to be in a particular manner to show that the private or the independent media, what we're doing here is of utmost importance. So I want to ask you so kindly to call 713-526-5738 now. Sandy's going to do a little bit more pitching right now, and then we'll get right back into the program. But I need you to call now so that we can see we're making some progress to build to that $150,000 we must get to. Sandy, come on in.
Thank you, Egberto. Yep, there's nothing like a farm, nothing like being a farmer, nothing like corporate greed. Man, what a collision of thought, huh? The image of the family farmer that we all carry around. Think again. Anyway, I digress. It is Fund Drive. It is purportedly the final week. If we don't extend, we will have to extend, in that we have cut our expenses to the bone, folks. We got one full-time paid employee, and the money that we're asking for is simply the money that we need to pay the electric bill and all the other bills that enable broadcast. It's an expensive proposition. It's $52,000 a month, but we can't do that with one person each month ponying up that kind of money. So we come on the air every 4 times a year, and we ask the collective listenership to supply the funds that we need. And we do this $10 a month at a time, $5 a month at a time, whatever it is that you can afford out of your monthly budget. I'm asking you to sign up as a sustainer. That is, you give us that money, that cup of coffee, as Egberto likes to draw an analogy to, once a month. And that cup of coffee, if you get it at Starbucks, well, might be $10. If you get it around the corner at the diner, it might be $5. But whatever it is, whatever you can afford, please send it our way. For a $120 donation, we have a 32-ounce stainless steel tumbler emblazoned with the KPFT logo. It has a internal straw, keeps your hot drinks hot, your cold drinks cold, and makes a very nice thank you gift for that $120 donation. If you could do a little bit more than that, we would be grateful. But right now, on this Monday morning, the final week of Fund Drive, I'm looking at no thank yous to anybody. We've been on for nearly 30 minutes. Maybe one of you out there can dial that number, 713-526-5738. Hit option 1, talk to the donation center, and do your part. You can also go to kpft.org and click the donate button. That's kpft.org. Click the donate button, follow the bouncing ball, and support community radio. 54 years plus, commercial free, volunteer powered, and we're asking you to keep independent media alive. Period. Full stop in Houston, Texas. 713-526-5738. Thank you. Looking for that first call, that first pledge on this Monday, and we'll come back and thank you later. Egberto.
Absolutely. So thank you, Sandy. Folks, we do need you to call. There's another one, a bit more thank you that we want to give, and that is breakfast and coffee with Egberto. And that is, look, it's just a gimmick. Yeah, I know. But I will come out and meet you for some coffee. And we're for that thank you, we are saying, hey, can you go ahead and throw for those people who can $250, and I'll drive any part of Harris County or surrounding counties within limits and drink some coffee with you and have a chat and talk whatever you want to talk about. I mean, we'll do anything to make sure that we can raise the funds to keep this station alive and well. So I want to ask you again, call 713-526-5738 extension 1. Please do it now. I'm asking you kindly to do it now so I can say thank you. I have the our donation center up on the screen, and as soon as you make that call, and as soon as they put the name that we can thank you by on air. Again, if you don't want to be thanked, we won't do it. You just tell them, don't call my name on air or whatever you want to say. But we love for those who call and say, give us their name. If you, as long as you don't tell us to do it, we're going to tell you thank you so kindly and let everybody know that here is yet another supporter of KPFT. If you have never given to KPFT before, but you like this program and you like the depth with which we cover the subjects on this program, I ask you kindly to call 713-526-5738. Give whatever you can, one-time contribution or a sustainer. But we're really asking for sustainers right now. $5 a month, less than a coffee, $10 a month, whatever you can. You have your bills that you pay. You have your cable bill. And for those who hear this already, sorry, but a lot of people come in daily. Uh, you have your cable bill. Cable bills cost you between $100, $200 a month, and you have no input. You just pay the bill, and they feed you with whatever they want to feed you with, whether that be news, entertainment, etc. Here at KPFT, we give you value, and we also cover subjects in depth that wouldn't be covered on mainstream networks and mainstream TV or cable TV. We also cover music, carry music that many other stations won't play because it's not what the commercial stations have. Remember, all of these things are rackets now. Um, I'm gonna do a little rant on that. That's important. That's going to be knowledgeable as well. But let me pitch a couple more minutes. Um, Look, this is your station. If you're on the radio driving into work right now and listening, this is your station. If you're on the internet right now streaming this station, you are on the internet. You are owner of this station. If you are listening to us on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter right now, which we have quite a few doing right now, this is your station. This is your station. And if you are here more than a minute or two because you like the content that you're hearing, you like the honesty with which we give the news, like the honesty with which we play our music, this is your station. This is your station. So I want to ask you, please be a part of it and call now. 713-526-5738. I tell you, the best feeling if you're going to be a new person given, the best feeling is when you have been listening to something for a while and you actually know that this is a volunteer radio station and also one that is 100% dependent on you, and you give for the first time. I tell you, and my feeling came about that decades ago when I started giving to KPFT, when I found this station and fell in love with this station. It took a little while for me. The little while was probably 3 months or so before I started to say, I got to give to this baby. I hadn't heard music like this before. I hadn't heard news like this before. I hadn't heard the honesty in news before. And what I mean is not just the regurgitating of the standard line that you hear every day. I will wager to you that on cable network, cable news TV, and on mainstream media, you will hear about the Jasmine Crockett MTG cat fight. I guarantee you're going to hear about that. I guarantee you're not going to hear about the Farm Bill. You're not going to hear about referencing that relative to Sonny Perdue, the agricultural secretary for Donald Trump, that said the small farmer is dead. You're not going to hear that, but you're going to hear it here. I guarantee you're not going to hear that subject at all. So, folks, please give us a call now at 713 526 5738. I had a rant that just slipped my mind. It was about something that I was covering and it just slipped my mind. It just slipped out of there because it wasn't on the newsletter. That's why I write everything down, man. You know, when you're no longer 40 or so, you know, guys, for if you're going to become 40, be careful, be careful, be careful. When you're no longer 50, be careful, be careful. Anyway, so look, we have to get serious about our politics. A lot of people hate politics, and it's understandable why they hate politics. They hate politics because it's commotion, it's a fight, it's arguing, it's getting people upset, or because you don't agree with me. Uh, but if we were to learn that politics is not doesn't have to be an argument, doesn't have to be frustrating, it is just an exchange of ideas, and then we let democracy choose what option comes out of it. If you look at it in that domain, it is a lot more palatable because that's what it is supposed to be. This this terrible politics that we have now is not democracy, it's money. It's simply it's simply an evil adoration of that green thing as opposed to humanity. And if we can put a little bit more humanity into our politics, things would be a lot better. So, folks, that's what we try at KPFT here. We want to make sure and be inclusive to every idea, and we want every idea to support itself. By the way, I forgot to open the lines up to say you can give us a call at 713 526 5738 extension 2 to speak, but we'd like you to donate, contribute. I don't even want to say donate. I want to say support this station that keeps on giving. 713 526 5738 extension number 1 to support the station, which we're asking you to do right now. Extension number 2 to come on air. Now we are at 37. We are at 637 and we don't yet have a contribution. So please go ahead and consider contributing now. I'm going to pitch for another minute before I get into the other subject. So please call now. It only takes you about 90 seconds to call in and donate, or you can go to kpft.org and give a little something, put it in the name of Politics Done Right as a supporting program, and move on from there. It's very important, folks. It's very important. Let me queue up, go to my blog, but before I go to my blog for the next subject, I want to jump to Sandy to see if Sandy has anything about tickets or whatever that he has for thank you, for some thank yous. Sandy, are you there or you not?
I'm here, Egberto. Thank you. I'm here waiting on that first pledge, and so far it is still not in the house. But I know someone's moving to the phone or to the keyboard to the mouse in the house and about to do that. I don't have the ticket list in front of me. I hesitate after the weekend yesterday. We had a good day on Blue Sunday, and I haven't gotten an update. So I don't want to sell or give away or hand out as thank yous what we don't have. So a little
Gotcha.
later today, we'll be talking about tickets. However, you can call and inquire at the donation center. They will have the updated list in front of them. 713-526-5738, option 1. I have to emphasize that this is the only way that KPFT can pay its bills. We have underwriting. If you're a business out there and would like to support the KPFT with an underwriting announcement, maybe you have a message you want to get out, and we will accept underwriting. That practice started, about a year plus ago. And a few people, a few companies take advantage of that, and we are appreciative. It accounts for less than 2% of our revenue needs. We get some grant money through the door. again, accounting for less than 2% of our total revenue needs. The money comes from the listener, and it comes primarily during fund drives. This is the final week of the May drive, and we're a long way from the goal. If you're already a sustainer and have already pledged this drive, I thank you, because 480 different donations have come in. But we need about another 480. That's the bottom line. And it could start right now, where we would need 479, and we'll do it one at a time. And we'll do it all week long until we're in a place where KPFT can continue its broadcast history, its rich history here in Houston of 54 plus years, and make sure that free speech, commercial-free media survives. If you're with me on this, with Egberto and with a whole lot of other people that power KPFT, talking about all the volunteers, all the people down in the studio right now making this broadcast possible. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. There is no way on God's green earth you would be hearing my voice right now, except for 54 years of fund drives and people heeding the call and responding. We're doing it again. We're doing that right now. Please do not break the chain on this beautiful Monday morning. Supply us with what is needed most right now. That is money to pay the bills. 713-526-5738. That tumbler, that's $120. If you want to add $20 to that, we'll throw in a 1-pound bag of Colombian Supremo beans, the Caroline Street blend from Lola Savannah. So that's a $140 donation. Join as a sustainer for $11.67 per month, and we will send you both the coffee and the tumbler. You want a t-shirt, maybe a Politics Done Right t-shirt or KPFT t-shirt, the 419 Love It design, line drawing from Lars Hendrington, beautiful shirt, that's $100, all those shirts. The KPFT Caroline shirt, $100. Beautiful drawing of the Caroline building from Jill Morgenstern, former programmer, hopefully future programmer again at KPFT as she battles her way through health difficulties. Both those shirts, though, the Caroline Street and the Lovett Street, we'll put them together in a package and send them to you. $180. $15 a month sustainer will get you 2 clean shirts to wear to your first date or interviews this week. You'll look good. You'll feel good with a new t-shirt. You always do. Come on. Support community radio. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Come on, we need that first pledge. Still don't see it. I know the donation tracker is working this morning. Just waiting on you. Egberto.
Thank you very much, Sandy. And you mentioned Jill. I wanted to give a shout out to one of our great friends here at KPFT, one of our great hosts at KPFT, Jill Morgenstern. Jill, if you're listening, how you doing, beautiful? I hope all is getting better and better and better. Anyway, folks, call 713-526-5738. After I speak to Harry and Brian, I'm going to be coming back to Michael Steele. But let's go ahead. Come on in, Harry. 2 minutes, my brother. Talk to me.
Oh, good morning, El Professor Eberto Willis. Well, and good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Jack, and good morning, Howard. When I was in church on Sabbath this weekend, celebrating my birthday and telling them about sharing the birthday with you, and talking about Malcolm X a little bit because it was his birthday yesterday. He would have been 99. But, yeah, there was one of the church members when I was, after the service was over, was talking to me, and he turned to me and said, Harry, I've been listening, you know, there's a show, KPFT, I've been listening, and then I'm like, I know that voice. And I said, well, were you listening to Politics Done Right, or were you listening to You Talk? Because I call in and give my opinions on those shows. And he said it was one of those shows, but he's like, I know that voice. I said, well, you keep listening. His name's Glenn. And I said, well, you keep listening. If you tune in at 6 a.m. 5 days a week, or you tune in at 8 a.m. 5 days a week, sometimes you'll hear me on there. But and then he said, yeah, well, uh, he likes to listen to those programs. So, and I just was talking about, as you were mentioning there, politics are very important. And when I was listening to Sunday Morning Live yesterday morning on Al Sharpton's show, there was a caller that called in and said that he was talking to a black. This was a black African American caller. He was talking to black people, and he was saying that a lot of people don't want to get involved or talk about politics, but politics affects you. It's very important, as you said there a little while ago, Berto, because if we don't participate, if we don't vote, or as Howard is saying, vote these neoliberals and vote these Republicans out, then your enemies get in there and they do things to affect you. And this one guy was saying, if Trump gets back in there, black people who and he gets a Republican Senate and a Republican House. I didn't agree with everything he said, but he said, yeah, they'll try to send you back to Africa, and you're not even from Africa. Well,
But anyway,
you are from Africa. It's just maybe you weren't born there, but your ancestors were born there. So I didn't agree with that part.
Hey, thank you. I gotta move on, my dear brother. But thank you for your good thoughts as usual. All right, take care, brother. Peace. Let's go to Brian real quick. Come on in, Brian. 2 minutes.
Yeah, much worse storm than what I thought when I called in Friday. Much worse.
Yes.
Northwest side is really damaged. I'm not too far from the power tower that went down. It's really bad.
Are you okay?
That is a main power line source. Yeah, we're fine. We have a generator, so we're still powered up. You might have a hard time getting some donations from people on that side. I wish everybody would donate. So, because you don't have free speech, you don't have a program.
Exactly. I appreciate you, Brian, for calling in and always helping us along by asking folks to contribute to the show. Anything else, Brian, you want to say real quickly before I move on?
No, that's it. I wish everybody well. I wish
Thank you,
more
brother.
generators to get out.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. You have a great day. Take care, Brian. Anyway, folks, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute, extension number 2 to speak. But we need to get our first contributor to call in. We don't yet have our first contributor. Are we going to, let me just tell you, love you guys. You guys always keep me in suspense with my heart in my throat. And then at the end, the contributions come in. I want to ask you not to give me stress like this anymore. It's a request. It's a kind request. Can you please call in now or go to kpft.org now and give the contributions to support the program, to support KPFT, so that I can really look at you and say, hey, guys, thank you. Thank you. $5 a month, which is a coffee. I know you can do that. It's much better than the $200 a month for your cable bill. $10 a month. I am a $10 a month contributor in as much as I'm volunteering, like Brother Jack is, etc. Still contributing to the station as well, because we understand that the sum total of a lot of little things add up to a big thing. If you take a look at a river, you keep riding up to that river to where it starts. Even if it starts from a lake, that lake was fed from a whole lot of different tributaries, real trickles out of the sandstone, out of small other rivers coming down from the ice melt. And it starts as trickles and it turned into a rush. That's what we need right now. Everybody doing a tiny little bit. If you go ahead and call 713-526-5738 right now and just hit number 1 and say, I want to support the station through Politics Done Right. $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month. You could say, maybe things are great for you this year. I'm going to give $25 a month so I can get that 4x4 brick and leave my name stamped on the Walk of Fame at KPFT, or maybe you're even $50 a month, and you can say, I'm going to do this for KPFT and have my 8x4 or 4x8 brick stamped with the message for someone or something at KPFT. Please call now 713-526-5738. Extension number 1. Michael Steele, how many more Americans after seeing this crap show continue to buy it? Michael Steele did not mince his words. He wants the factionalization of the Republican Party. He thinks that factionalization is probably going to create what we need, which is a rebirth of the Republican Party. And for, I have friends that they just want, they're strict Democrats, and they don't want to hear anything about Republicans, etc. That's not me. I'll be very honest. I personally take off my host hat. What do you call it? I caucus with Democrats because Democrats are where progressive policies can get executed. But the Democratic Party was not always the place where progressive policies got passed. At one point, it was a sect within the Republican Party as well. When we talk about civil rights, when we talk about the EPA, when we talk about those things were done under Republican tutorship. So what you get out of a politics done right program is an honesty of both party affiliations, etc. My goal isn't about party affiliation. That's why you notice I try to have everybody in. Everybody who has an idea, who has a good idea. I don't care where you're from. That's what we want, right? And so, what Michael Steele was talking about, the factionalization of the Republican Party, he thinks it's a good thing because it'll cause it to have to rebuild itself sooner rather than later into a party that functions again. Look, I am not a conservative. The Republican is decidedly a conservative party. Let me tell you, in as much as I'm left wing as you can get, I want conservatives around. And let me tell you why. Because there are some things that when I start to think about it, the people that are going to make it better as far as not doing things that will take it off the kilter will be conservatives. I have had conservatives change my mind on policies before. It hadn't made the policies not progressive. It has made the policies better because I had pushback from somebody who hates progressive policies, but somebody who had reasons why they thought certain things would work a certain way. So Michael Steele is a former Republican National Committee chairman, has been a vocal critic of Donald Trump and the current state of the Republican Party. In a recent segment, Steele sharply analyzed the spectacle surrounding Trump and his entourage. He pinpointed a sad reality, the parade of politicians in New York to stand by Trump, a parade necessitated by Trump's lack of genuine familial support and driven by political ambition. Steele's critique highlights a fundamental problem with the party. The factionalization and sycophantic behavior of GOP politicians reflect deep-rooted rot within the party. Trump's influence has exposed and exacerbated the internal decay, leading to a political environment where loyalty to Trump supersede principles and policies. And that's what we're talking about, the superseding of principles and policies. Therefore, the policies that support rural America, the policies that support urban America, the policies that support people are deficient because what comes first is loyalty to Trump, and whoever supports Trump is who get benefits. Let's go to Johnny real quick before we continue. Come on in, Johnny.
Yeah, real quick. Remember that if we don't have a strong Democratic Party, in other words, get rid of centrists like Pelosi, Schumer, Biden, Brock, and Hill and Hillary, if we don't put aggressive progressives, unapologetic progressives to run the party, guess what? A strong Republican Party will take over and we will turn fascists. That's guaranteed.
There's no doubt about it. It's happening already, Johnny. It is what is currently happening. And it's happening it was in slow motion. And Trump just came and sped it up. 3 Supreme Court justices. If Trump were to be reelected again, think about this. Alito and Thomas are in their late 70s, 80s. What do you think they're going to do as soon as Trump becomes, if Trump were to become? Look, I'm still thinking Democratic landslide. I still haven't changed my outlook at that. But what do you think happens, brother? What do you think happens if Trump is president? He gets two more appointments because Alito and Thomas immediately resigns to get a 40-something-year-old on the bench. There you go, people. That's your election. Johnny?
Yeah. Okay. I thought. Okay. I wasn't sure where you were going. So the Supreme Court right now is dysfunctional. The United States cannot continue to exist without a functional Supreme Court. In addition to other things, we need so many things to happen in real time in order for this country to continue to exist and to improve. We haven't been a great country yet. That hasn't happened yet. And we're going to slide into authoritarianism if and when the Democrats continue to allow the Republicans to grow and metastasize like a cancer. That's it.
Right. All right. Thank you, Johnny. When Johnny says that the Supreme Court cannot, a country can't exist with a dysfunctional Supreme Court, let me just give a two-line sentence that points that out. Congress passes a good progressive bill that helps people. The president signs it into law, and everybody thinks, okay, we got a good law passed because the people have spoken. Then immediately thereafter, the Supreme Court comes in and it says, by the way, that bill is unconstitutional. 9 people, well, actually, it will be 6 people, decide that we are not going to allow our government to serve the people. We are going to say whatever we want to say is constitutional. That's where we're at right now. And brothers and sisters, you elect the wrong people. That is what you continue to get. Folks, we don't have our first contribution yet. Please go ahead and call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Please go ahead or go to kpft.org and donate, select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, and then give us your contribution. Please don't wait. I mean, we're going to go a little bit over past our station or 8 or 7 o'clock station ID because again, we need to raise these funds. So I ask so kindly to call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Sandy, what you got for me if you're there?
Of course, I'm here, Egberto. I'm listening. We've been asking for a $300 goal every morning, and most mornings that money's coming in. For some reason, this morning, people are thinking it's Monday, and maybe they're just moving really slow to the phone, or maybe over the weekend they went on a betting parlay binge and online betting and lost it all and can't do it on Monday morning. I don't know what the reason is that people are a little slow this morning, but it is Monday, so it's understandable. Over the weekend, we attempted to get our HD2 transmitter working, but we didn't quite make it. We got a new $8,700 piece of equipment that's installed, but we need a code key to activate it, and we're searching for it. These things are hard to find. It's not like you left them on the corner of your desk or in the file drawer. They're digital and they're on file somewhere, and our engineer is frantically running that down. Point being that over the weekend, we spent about $10,000 trying to get our transmitter back up to full capacity. This is an expensive proposition. For those of you that are listening to KPFT, commercial-free, listen-responsive radio, don't take this as a joke, but without the money, the bills don't get paid, and we will be in deep doo-doo come July or August. 713-526-5738. The next time we plan to come back to you is during summer sizzle, and I was really hopeful that we could, reduce the goal or even do away with that drive this year. But if we don't make our goal on this drive, that will be impossible. One thing leads to another. It's always like crossing the brook. You're going from one stone to the other to keep your feet dry out of the water, if you will, metaphorically. And without people calling up and donating, we are plunging right into that cold, cold stream. 713-526-5738. You can get a KPFT t-shirt, the new logo rainbow t-shirt, for a $120 donation. You can get a KPFT embroidered cap. Beautiful embroidery work on the bill of the cap is a $150 donation. Whatever thank you gift that you pick out, whatever it is that you want to wear, or drink your coffee out of, or see a show, whatever it is that you take away as a thank you, remember, what you're really getting is this commercial-free, independent media in the heart of Houston, Texas. We're in our 54th year, going to year 55, and we'll only make it with your call, 713-526-5738. It's 7 a.m., and this is KPFT Houston, Egberto.
Thank you very much. I was just going to do the ID. Thank you for doing that ID, Senor Manager Sandy. Anyway, look, folks.
You could always say 89.5 in Galveston.
Oh, yeah, it's 89.5 Galveston.
Right out of the
what about Huntsville?
We're broadcasting in Huntsville, although that was something that I was hoping we would get to, but the storm delayed plans to get up there and make sure all is good. We've got work to do up there too, because we're losing our internet service, which is DSL service, no longer supported.
Ouch.
So we have to scramble really quick and get up there too.
All right, folks. Anyway, folks, 713-526-5738. I don't have any contributors yet, so we're going to go into a little bit into democracy now. So, folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. This is,
right here.
Yeah.
7:20.
Yeah.
We're going to keep pitching, and we're hopeful that somebody will contribute. So just keep going, my friend.
Well, actually, we just spoke, and we did get an additional one. Look, thank you so kindly. Let me see if I can say the name. Yes, Gloria Jean. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. And it says on the carrier here that Gloria is an existing supporter, and it's an additional contribution, which means she has contributed to this drive before. So look, we give value. There is absolutely no doubt. I get it in the emails. I get the emails, and the way we can figure whether you're reaching people or not is not solely by our streams or meaning the streams on YouTube, Twitch, here at KPFT and elsewhere, but also the feedback that you get from people. The feedback that you get not only by emails or the feedback that you get when you go to events or whatever. I find it amazing. I'm frank with you. Wherever I go, and just it is funny that Harry said what he said, right? Because I was in Philadelphia one time and I was getting my press credentials for the conference, and I'm talking there, and this guy says, "Oh, wait a minute, I know that voice. I know that voice. You're Egberto from Politics Done right? Yeah, this is a guy that's in DC. He came to the conference in Philadelphia, but he's in DC, but he recognized it. And he said we met never just by accident. He's behind me collecting credentials. And he then became, we spoke, and he said, "Yeah, I like the show, all that kind of stuff." We spoke a little bit, and I said, "Okay, thank you." And I kind of gave a hint like, "Do you like the show? Do you kind of support the show? We're a community radio." Next thing I know, the next fund drive, I saw the guy's name on the list. So we are all over the place. And sometimes you don't realize that, I love this program. I love what you guys do at KPFT. And sometimes it doesn't click that, probably it's a good thing to support it because, again, it's not being supported commercially because we have that independence. And this guy became a supporter. He listened for a long time, and he just realized, hey, I guess I'm gonna support. And then he called the 3:00 show, and he said, "Hey, I supported you on KPFT, man." And I'm like, "Well, thank you so kindly for doing that." So that's the same thing I'm asking you guys right now. KPFT is a great station, not only for politics, not only for news, not only for not only for it's the eclectic music that we give you. It's about the vegan programs that we have. It's about just community service that Dwayne Bradley does. I mean, it's a plethora of just good programming. Just a plethora of good programming. Folks, let me tell you something, guys. It's worth it. It's worth it. Oh, wow. I just got a message from another supporter. I'll see it when it comes onto the screen. He increased his monthly by $10, he says. And can I call your name out? I want to call your name out right now, if at all possible. I didn't see it on the screen, so I want to call it out if you give me permission to on the text, my brother. But folks, this is what it's all about. And new people, if you have never given, it's not a bad. I mean, I know the feeling that it's like, oh, you listen to it and you can afford it, but you never got into saying, let me go ahead and give. I am asking you now, from the depths of my heart, to please go ahead and give. Give. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Remember to say that it's in the name of Politics Done Right, or go to kpft.org, kpft.org, hit donate, select Politics Done Right as a program, and go ahead and select the amount that you want to donate and what thank you gift you want for your contribution. Please, it is important. Yes, thank you. Okay, Bruce Pollard just added an additional $10 a month to his pledge to KPFT. And let me just say, from Bruce supports so much in community radio, internet radio, and all of that. He has the ability to discern the kinds of things that really we are yearning and we need right now. Thank you very much for that, Bruce Pollard. Love you for your constant support of Politics Done Right and KPFT. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. I know you are out there. I know there are I know there are listeners out there who've never contributed. Could you become that contributor now? Could we get a flurry of you calling in right now, or going to the website kpft.org, hit donate, then select Politics Done Right, and then whatever donation you want to give. It seems like I have an additional one-time donation. Let's see, I don't see it. I can call the name. David Peña. Muchísimas gracias por la contribución. That is great. I thank you so kindly, el señor David Peña. And David, again, is an existing supporter that added to his contribution. We have another one. Let's see if I can call his name out. Yes, there's no restrictions. Hanadi Hussein, thank you so kindly for your most kind contribution. We can go to coffee anytime you so desire, my dear brother. Look, folks, we could use a lot of your support right this minute, folks. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Sandy pointed out earlier today that we were at $77,000, which means we're short by about $73,000, and we're halfway through the drive, which according to that, we are behind schedule, right? We have one more week left in the fund drive. We are behind schedule, so we have to speed up in these contributions. So I want to ask kindly, for those that have never given to the station, but that listen to us frequently, can I ask you to either give a one-time contribution of whatever amount, or what we would much prefer is a coffee a month. $5 a month, $10 a month. Can you do that? I am doing $10 a month. And let me just tell you guys, I gave up my company and everything else to go completely into activism. So I don't have nearly the money that I used to have having a company. Actually, I'm still negative cash flow. But you know what I always do? I have every month, without me ever seeing it, KPFT gets it's almost like a tithe, you know. I'm not a religious guy, so my tithing is to support organizations like KPFT and Daily Kos and Common Dreams and Op-Ed News and all these other entities that promotes progressive policies that inform people. I know that the corporations aren't going to support these rags. I know the corporations are not going to support programs that educate people, that make people be independent, make people know what they ought to do to ensure their survival, their fiscal and financial survival. I know that. So we have to support these organizations. And KPFT is one of those. KPFT is I give to a whole lot of different entities that do policies activism, and KPFT has to be on that list in my opinion, and why KPFT is on my list. And as much as I have a platform here to speak, KPFT is dear to heart because I know this is one of the venues that people are out there listening, and I know that because I'm out there in the field and I hear it and people talk about it. And I'm asking you to do the same. 713-526-5738. We don't have anybody new yet. Everybody that has contributed thus far has been people that have been holding us afloat day after day, year after year. I'm asking some of those who have yet to contribute, please give us a contribution now. Please support this very important station now. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute. Let me jump to Sandy and then we'll continue. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Very well said, folks. You know, without the money coming in, the bills don't get paid, and KPFT just joins that long list of community stations around the country that is no more, just a memory. We can't afford that, especially in this election year, especially with the conversations that are not being held across what seems to be all other types of media, your cable TV talking heads, AM conservative talk radio, FM station, other FM stations. Newsprint is disappearing, and what you're left with is a scrolling bunch of reels and videos and pictures, and you can give a thumbs up or I heart it or whatever. That's not the dialogue we need. The dialogue we need can be found right here. I'm a volunteer, by and large. I get a little bit of gas money to run the car up and down I-45 a few times a week, and what I'm given by KPFT is superseded by the cost of travel, that alone. We've got a few handful of other people in the same place that make this station run so that when you turn it on, it's there. Once there was a time where the budget was 1.6, 1.7 million. Once there was a time where there were 16, 17 paid employees at KPFT. It's not where we are today. We're hanging on. We're hanging on because many of us feel the importance, the need to keep this window open, this uncontrolled, uncommercialized media resource moving forward. If you can agree with the notion of free speech and have something that's an alternative to the music you hear, an alternative to the voices that you hear, an alternative to media being piped in from a satellite rather than local. This is very local. Egberto lives here. I live here. Howard lives here. All the voices you hear. Jack, who's down in the studio, lives locally. Everybody that you hear, by and large, on KPFT, they're your friends and neighbors. What you're donating for is to keep the lights on and the transmitter humming so that these voices can continue to reach you. Hanadi, thank you. David, Gloria, thank you for contributing this morning. 3 people out of everybody listening. We can do better. Don't deny the obvious, child. Don't deny the obvious. And that is, like any other business, KPFT would not exist but for patronage of its, we'll call them customers, listeners. That's you, that's now, and again our number, 713-526-5738. Get yourself a t-shirt, wear that around town. If you're not contributing this morning, if you have not contributed this drive or in the last year, and you don't plan to, then do us all a favor and tell 2 people about KPFT. 713-526-5738, option 1, 713-526-KPFT, or kpft.org, and click donate. Or go to your phone, go to kpft.org, and it's very easily done on your handheld device. It's so cool, so easy, and so worthwhile to keep independent media moving forward. One more time, 713-526-5738 or kpft.org. We got about 5 minutes left. There's time to thank you. So please make that call that makes a difference. Egberto.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Sandy. Folks, like I mentioned several times before, think about you don't get the choice when you have to pay your cable bill monthly, $100 a month, $200 a month, and all you do is get what they decide they want you to hear. Here, you are an integral part. You see people calling of every spectrum to KPFT, to Politics Done Right. You see people from the left, the right, the middle, from nowhere, all call in. Even as we're in Fund Drive, you see that I make sure and prepare a complete program. Even as we interrupt the program, well, quite a bit today because of the not getting the call-ins, we tell you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter for the rest of the program, for the videos, for everything that's there, for the blogs, everything that we would cover on air absent the Fund Drive. So everything is prepared for you. The homework is done to make sure that every single weekday, and actually on the weekends as well, you get not just junk information, not just junk stuff, but you get actual meaningful policies. I sent out some Substacks this week, and the response that I got from some of them was simply amazing. People were just happy to see that there is someone covering this in more superficial detail. We do the work. We make sure that you are informed, and all we're asking for is for you to, again, for those who can afford, we ask you to support. For those who can't, we still want you here. And Sandy just gave a great option. If you can't afford to give, spreading the word, making more people aware of us, and encouraging others to support us. There are a lot of ways. Giving is not only about money, but we do have to have money. So you can, if you can't give, you can tell others, hey, support this program, support this show, because they are something that we need at this time, especially this time in our current politics. So if you go to 713-526-5738, extension number 1, and contribute, think about it, folks. You are making a difference. $5 a month, $10 a month, or you can go to kpft.org, hit donate, select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, and then tell us how much. Here's the deal. I'm going to be off in a minute and a half. Okay? We're going to be done. You can still contribute after that. Please go to kpft.org, hit Politics Done Right, and still donate. We can do this. And new people that have never done it before, I'm getting off the air now. Please consider doing that. All right, let's go to the studio to wrap up, then come back to me to close.
Oh, nothing from me. How about you, Jack?
KPFT, hippy dippy, subversive free speech radio for peace. Listener sponsored, volunteer run. No place else but Texas.
I like the hippy dippy part.
Love you guys, man. Hey, callers, love you. Supporters, love you. Listeners, love you. Sandy, Howard, Jack, love you. That is what, I sound corny sometimes, and because we're not used to this kind of stuff, right? A lot of times, the way they've tried to not let us love on each other, because when you start doing that, you get policies that work. That's who we are. All right? That is who we are. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. I want to thank everybody. Don't forget, you can still go to kpft.org, hit the donate button, select Politics Done Right, and give us whatever you can. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am out. Democracy Now is in.
And there he goes. We joined Democracy Now! In Progress on KPFT Houston.
They did not yield the type of changes that they wanted. It certainly changed Ivan's